Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Parallax Abstraction, and welcome to another episode of Retro Flashback, showcasing gaming's roots for a new generation. I apologize for my pretty awful voice quality today. I am currently infected with a spring plague that's going around my hometown. It tends to happen around this time of year, so I'm pushing through this regardless, but forgive me for sounding a little gravelly and or nasally today. 'Tis the season and whatnot. So, what are we looking at today? Well, we are going to be looking at the latest release for the Wii U Virtual Console. This just came out a couple of days ago, and as of the time of this recording, this game is launching at 30 cents, which, as I've said before, is kind of nuts. Even if you aren't sure if you're going to like this game or not, I mean, it's 30 cents. It's totally worth trying out. I would recommend jumping on it regardless if you've got a Wii U. This will only be 30 cents for a little while, and then the price will go up. So if you're watching this sometime after the date it was posted, then it's probably not 30 cents anymore. But you know what? This game's probably going to be worth it at full price too, because it's really, really excellent. We are going to be taking a look at Kirby's Adventure for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This was a very, very late NES game. This came out in 1993, which was a couple of years after the Super Nintendo debuted and well into when most people had moved on to that system. But it is also the second Kirby game, first one being on the original Game Boy, called Kirby's Dream Land. Kirby is an awesome character, and he's kind of one of the more second-rate Nintendo characters in that not a lot of people pay attention to him. His games always sell okay, but never really well. And he's kind of just not considered as iconic as, say, Zelda or Samus or the Mario Brothers. And I think that's a shame because his games have some of the most unique mechanics of a lot of Nintendo titles, and they always tend to vary quite a bit in terms of both style and gameplay. I really think Kirby deserves more credit than he gets. And this is no exception. This is a really, really good platformer. I actually hadn't had a chance to play this game before because I'd long since gotten rid of my NES by this point. But I played it the other day when it came out on here, and it's really good. I've already put a fair amount of time into it. So, we're going to get this started up here. And away we go. This is very, very impressive. It's not a perfect game, as you're going to see. Its two major glaring flaws are that its user interface, if you will, its sort of scoring and status area, takes up an abnormally large part of the screen for no particular reason. This is really cool. This is basically the essence of Kirby, and look at that. That takes up a large portion of the screen, and a lot of the levels are very, very drab color-wise. A lot of brown, a lot of sandy color, and it doesn't look as good as it could, but the gameplay and, in particular, the soundtrack in this game are just top tier, and it is really something else, and when I'm not hitting random buttons. So it's very simple. As you can see here, the game's actually explaining it. You can blow yourself up to fly, you can slide at enemies, and this is the cool part. You can inhale enemies and shoot them at each other, or if an enemy has a special attack or special property, you inhale that enemy, and you press down, and you get his power. So rather than suck enemies in, you can do things like shoot fire, or turn yourself to stone, or shoot crazy lightning bolts, or all other manner of things, which allows you to attack the levels in a myriad of different and interesting ways, which I think is really, really cool mechanic, and really makes this a unique and different platformer. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. So, anyway, we'll skip the rest of the tutorial here, and we'll get ourselves rolling. Has a save system as well, not unlike Super Mario World or some other platformers of this era, which is pretty cool. So you can stop where you can stop and come back later without having to restart, always nice. So here's what I'm talking about. So, again, like Super Mario World, this has kind of an overworld with multiple levels, and you can sort of go back to previous levels or sort of choose your way through if you want. But you see how everything looks kind of brown? Yeah, a lot of this game looks like that. Not all of it, as you can see. There's definitely some color in it. but that this is the dominating color is very kind of odd. And you'll also see how obnoxiously large that UI is and how sort of small everything else, including Kirby himself, is as a result of that. Not sure if that's because of a technical limitation or some other reason, but I find it's pretty gaudy and really unnecessary. So you see I just inherited a guy's power there, which is beam, and I'm chewing these guys up as a result. One thing I will say about this is it is a little easy, because all you have to do to blow yourself up to float is press up. It is very easy to do that, and as you can see, you can't use your power when you're blown up. All you can do is sort of float around and deflate quickly, but you don't really, you don't have the ability to use your power, and it is very, very easy to inflate yourself unintentionally, which I'm sure in later levels will become quite a problem. But if you're careful, you can manage it as well. Oops. So you see there, when I got hit, I actually lost that power-up. You can get it back if you go quick, but a lot of the times when it's gone, it's gone. But it's not really a problem, because you do still have your ability to suck enemies in, and soon enough you'll pick up another power anyway, so it's not really that big a problem. Alright. But as you can see, now we're obviously in a very early stage here, so this is pretty simple. This game definitely does get more challenging later, and there are actually bosses in this game as well, which is kind of interesting. But it's neat in that you also have, as you can see, you have a health bar, I guess, if you will. You actually have a health meter, which is neat. It's not just as simple as, you know, you get hit once or, you know, get hit twice if you have a bigger power-up, like, say, in a Mario Brothers game and you're dead. You actually... This, in a way, takes some elements from... You know what this game kind of reminds me of? It's almost like it's a weird cross between Mega Man and the Mario Brothers games. So you see there what happened is, at the end of every level, you have sort of this bounce puzzle, if you will, challenge, I guess. And basically, if you time that properly, if you time that well, you'll get a higher jump, and the higher the jump, the bigger the bonus you get. But yeah, it's almost a combination of, like, Super Mario Brothers in terms of the level progression and the general gameplay. So this is a bonus here that allows you to get things. I've actually never managed to do this. I always go after the big Kirby, and I kind of screw it up. But yeah, it's like Super Mario Brothers in terms of the level progression and the way you get through it, but it's almost like Mega Man in terms of the fact that you have powers, and you can choose to use those powers to attack the levels in different, more interesting ways, which I think is a very unique combination. I mean, Mega Man and Super Mario Brothers are excellent on their own, but you take two elements, one from each of those games, and combine them, and man, you have something potentially really crazy awesome. So you see I just got the little Kirby there, which amounts to a 1-up. You get a bigger bonus if you get the bigger Kirby, but the bigger Kirby is much more difficult to obtain. Alright, off we go. So I really like the combination. I think it works well, and I'll say this, combining mechanics from games like Mega Man and Super Mario Brothers could be very easily screwed up. You could bomb that pretty good if without too much difficulty, but the guys at HAL are able to do some really amazing stuff. That, you know, much like Kirby themselves. Oh yeah, Warp Star. You're kind of supposed to do that. That's kind of tutorializing. It's not really a secret that I found there. But HAL has a lot of parallels, if you will, to Kirby, in the sense that... So here's a mini-boss here. So I bombed that, but you see your goal here is to grab these bombs as he drops them out, pick them up, and then chuck them back at him. This guy's actually pretty easy if you're not screwing it up like I did there. But yeah, Hal Laboratory has some parallels to Kirby himself. They have been a division of Nintendo for quite some time. Fun fact, Nintendo's current, unfortunately beleaguered president, Satoru Iwata, who many are blaming for the current dismal state of the Wii U, but who they forget also led the creation of the DS and the original Wii, both of which are two of the most successful systems ever. He actually started off as a president of Hal Laboratory, and I believe he was also a programmer there. That's what I really like about that guy, and compared to a lot of other executives in the video game industry, is so many of these guys are packaged goods guys who don't know video games, and in many cases don't even really care for video games or play them very much. But Satoru Iwata is a gamer through and through. He got his start making games, and he really understands games. And some would say he doesn't understand what people want in games anymore, but he's an incredibly talented guy. But the interesting thing is, yeah, he started off at HAL, but HAL is a company that's been a part of Nintendo and a big part of Nintendo for a long time now. But much like Kirby himself, they're almost thought as second-rate. Like, no one gives HAL the credit that they give a lot of other internal Nintendo teams. You know, they're not thought on the level of, you know, some of the work that Shigeru Miyamoto oversees, or even teams like Retro Studios or anything like that. They're kind of the little brother who sort of sits in the corner and does the thing, but nobody really pays much attention to. Kind of like Kirby. And again, I think that's a shame. HAL does some pretty amazing stuff. Unfortunately, all they've been doing the last while is Kirby-related stuff, unfortunately. They've kind of became the Kirby house. And while the Kirby stuff they do is great, it would be nice to see them get a chance to spread their wings a little bit more. But they really pulled off something special with this game. And it's kind of a shame that you know, this is probably what started Kirby as a whole off on a bit of a sour note, is the fact that because this game came out so late in the life cycle of the NES, it came out in '93 when there actually were some great games still coming out on the NES. Some really good late entries in the Mega Man series came out in this time period. But there were still a lot of NESs in the world, but certainly not as many. And most of the people who still had them were people who were either not hardcore players or were not in the position to be able to afford a Super Nintendo. So the audience for these late blooming titles was definitely much smaller, and games from this era tended not to get noticed as much. And I think that kind of maybe set the historical stage for Kirby a little bit, in that, you know, came out, interesting character, really, really interesting game, but kind of came out on the wrong side of history, I guess. I really hate that phrase, but it's kind of applicable here, in that, yeah, it came out at sort of not the greatest time to get the traction and notice it needed, and while it did okay, and certainly enough to justify Nintendo's continued investment in him, it was never a smash hit, and thus, you know, it kind of just languished a little bit, and he got to continue to exist, but he never became a truly iconic character or a series, and that's a real shame. You know, I mean, when I think of really amazing Kirby games, there's quite a few. There's this one, there's Kirby's Dream Course for the Super Nintendo, which is another really good game, and also very, very different. Kirby's Epic Yarn for the original Wii is just, oh god, that game is so brilliant. It is one of the most aesthetically amazing titles to come out of Nintendo in forever. My girlfriend and I finished that game, and we absolutely loved it. It's dead easy. I mean, it's a game kind of clearly designed for kids, actually, but it's dead easy, but it is just so gorgeous. And again, you know, a really unique thing. Like, it's almost like Kirby's kind of an experiment. You know, he's like Nintendo's test subject. Whoops. I screwed that one good. Oh, actually, I did alright there. He's kind of like almost Nintendo's weird test subject, because all of his games often come out with unique and different concepts, but that's the thing, is they always come out, they don't get a lot of heavy marketing, Let's check this out. Well, that was kind of bad. Probably shouldn't have done that. But yeah, they always come out, they have unique ideas, but they come out and they don't get a lot of heavy marketing. You know, Nintendo never pushes them as hard as their safe stable of older... Man, I am screwing this up good. I gotta stop resting this thing on my lap. They never push them as hard as their big internal properties or anything like that. But he you know, Kirby games always come out and they have something unique about them, something different that makes them cool, and they always sell just well enough. They never sell great, but they always sell just well enough. And I think Kirby deserves better than he gets from Nintendo and from gamers as a whole. The good thing is now you have the opportunity to play a really, really impressive Kirby game, one of his earliest games, and the one that set the precedent for his legacy, I guess, if you want to call it that. This is a really good platformer. I see myself actually spending a lot more time with this after I'm done talking about it. And that's not something, you know, I'm not going to say that's something I never do, because, you know, I love this stuff. I do that, but considering I never played this game before, it's, you know, my first response after playing this is, man, I really missed out on something special back then, and I really want to experience that. And if you have a Wii U right now, at the time of this recording, you can do it as well for 30 cents. I mean, 30 cents for a bad game is no skin off anybody's nose. 30 cents for an amazing game like this it's downright theft. I mean, yeah. I really think everybody should definitely give this one a try and see. You can also get it on the original Wii Virtual Console as well, though, as usual, well, right now not only is the Wii U version cheaper, but it's better because of all the additional features you get. There is also a 3D Classics version that is out on the 3DS eShop as well. I have not touched that. I actually haven't tried any of the Virtual Console stuff on the 3DS, but as I understand it, it's basically this, except remastered to support 3D functionality, which, I mean, this could be interesting with 3D, I guess. I mean, you know, the way the levels might be able to pop a little more, and the characters certainly might get a little more interesting. I don't know if it would really fundamentally add anything awesome to the game, but if you've got a 3DS, it might be an interesting way to experience it. But yeah, that is Kirby's Adventure, published by Nintendo and developed by Hal Laboratory in 1993 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This is a gem. It is a late blooming NES gem, and everybody should really check this out. If you like platformers, if you're someone who likes the Mario games, I think there's a lot to like about this. It takes that formula, adds a bunch of spins to it, and they're all really, really interesting and really, really fun. I'm gonna put some more time into this game for sure, and I think everyone should try it out, and for 30 cents, you have basically nothing to lose, so why not? My name has been Parallax Abstraction. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I will see you next time, hopefully when I'm not so friggin' sick.